Hello, everyone, and welcome back to JaianMusic Notes. Today, we are giving you a treat on a guest episode with friend of the podcast, Hotshot Ginger, is amongst us. How are you, my friend?
And once again, you found me after I went into hiding.
Yes, the NDA clause is just, they are working themselves out in my favor.
I can never win with you.
No, but you can participate.
I'm forced, but yes.
Yeah, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Good talk. A big thank you for all of you to be joining us today. A reminder that JaianMusic Notes is sponsored by Laser Audio Technologies. They create high-quality audio plugins, and if you use code JaianMusic, you get 25% off your entire purchase, and all of that money goes straight into funding the podcast, such as GoPro Kyo, who does all of the artwork for JaianMusic Notes, so please go give him a follow. Link in the description. Okay, the world of the music of RWBY. There are so many ways to approach this. There's so many incredible facets to this music. We're talking about a long-running series with multiple volumes, and these albums, have tens of 20s of tracks, and it's quite fantastic to see. Like, some albums have 40 tracks. It's ridiculous. It's one of the anime musics that has the most volume of music, if you see what I mean.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, it's film score music. It's very rock based, as I was talking about with Hotshot. Why do you think that rock music in RWBY fits so well, and why they went with that direction? Because if you just hit any fan made RWBY fan compilation of songs, it's very rock based.
It's very rock-based because I feel like that's what fits the characters most. There's a lot of action-oriented in RWBY. There's not really a whole lot of discovery and new adventures. So, like, fantasy, whimsy, tavern music isn't really that kind of vibe. It doesn't have the vibe for, like, hardcore metal or pop, or definitely not country. But where the world doesn't really feel like that extent, certain characters do. Like, certain characters could exclude different genres better than just rock and roll. But rock as a whole, RWBY is a very high energy, impactful show where a lot of it is based on the animation of the combat. And I feel like rock and roll is what gets you the most hyped for this shit's about to go down.
No, absolutely. And when we talk about the music in RWBY, we have to talk about Jeff Williams. For the better part of the series, the large majority of it, has been the main composer of RWBY. And it's one of those things when I look at the body of work, just the RWBY body of work, because Jeff has other musical ventures, has put out music applications, and is more than just a composer, and even has his daughter Casey Lee involved, and works as a composer. Obviously the music directing is also through him. He's a multi-instrumentalist, and I find his approach to this music it's a combination of rock and video game orchestra comes together. You know what I mean? When you walk in, well, I don't know if you have gone to these, but I love going to video game music concerts, and you just see a whole orchestra doing the Zelda theme, and it's amazing. I can definitely see RWBY fitting that sort of quasi medieval but still very rock based music, and that's what I love about the mix of the songs with the guitars, the bass, the vocals, the drums, and that little violin kind of just giving you a on top of the melody. I absolutely love it. Personally, what do you think?
I have actually been to one. And that was
really?
Yeah, I went to a Sonic Symphony in Seattle.
Amazing.
About last year. And funny enough, Casey Williams was a singer there.
No way.
Yeah. She, so you did the symphony where you had the instrumental tracks from Sonic that we all know and love, like Green Hill Zone, City Escape, basically no lyrics. It's just the music. It's just the pure melody. But then when they got to modern day Sonic, they had Sonic's modern band Crush 40 come out, and a guest singer was Casey Williams.
Oh wow,
So
very
she
cool, very
she
cool.
and them took over like the second half of the concert with just Sonic's rock music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really cool. Like I like I said, like I love the blend of rock and orchestral and like electronic elements. Like, what are some even like standout song or standout musical moments for you when you think of like how rock based, but still like like do you would you agree with me when I say like it's rock based, but it'll lean a little bit into orchestral, it'll lean a little bit into electronic. You know what I mean? Like it's not just a rock
It's not just a
music.
it's not just a hard rock concert like the entire way through the show. No, one of if not my favorite song in all of Ruby is "Red Like Roses," which is Ruby's theme song,
Oh,
and
such a good theme.
it is a lot of rock. There's a lot of heavy guitar. There's a lot of fast tempo, and just gets you jazzed up and pumped. But then when you enter part two of the song, it enters a softer, somber tone. So it's not pure rock. It is a mixture of genres together, but you can't deny that rock and roll is like the core of a lot of these songs.
No, absolutely, absolutely agree with you when you say that. I also find it that how can I say this? The more I've been podcasting about anime music, the more I've noticed that blending genres together is extremely normal. I can only think of like a few songs, like for example, Cowboy Bebop, like typically will stay vastly in the jazz genre, but I feel like Ruby will not be as reserved and hop into electronic and violin. Like, what's your favorite combination of the two of genres that you had so far? Like, whether it be like rock and orchestral or electronic and rock. Like, what are some songs that you've really enjoyed? Like the mix of like outside of Red like Roses, because of course, like such a great song. Like we just go from like 1 to 2 to 20 million in a span of 30 seconds with that song.
It probably still is orchestral and rock to be my favorite combination. Like, even if I exclude Red Like Roses, like you said, This Will Be the Day has it, I Burn has it, Mirror Mirror has it.
True.
It appears in a lot of different songs that I really do like. And unfortunately, the ones that I know and like the best are the ones that are connected to the main group of Ruby, which is Ruby, Yang, Blake, and Weiss. Like,
I mean, the classic four.
yeah, those are your standard four. Those are the main four characters. So their songs are the ones I know the best, especially Ruby's and
Mm.
Yang's.
Yeah.
And those two specifically are just steeped in rock and roll.
No,
and
they are very steeped in rock and roll. I can't
and
disagree.
having grown up with rock and roll like almost purely, like had no other genre of music really introduced to me in early childhood except maybe country. It just kind of hits that kind of vibe for me that I just every time I hear rock and roll music, especially one that I really vibe to, I just kind of lose myself in, and I do that especially with a lot of Ruby songs.
I like what I also like about the music in Ruby. They really do a great job of synchronizing the fight scenes to the music, like the fight choreography, and the music. They just enhance each other so perfectly. And I was also listening to like I Burn is a standout for me. Like what I really like about I Burn is we go from like this really detailed guitar work where you have those like ripping distorted rhythm guitars, and then you just get this like clean guitar solo that just like fits perfectly into like the key and the melody of the rhythm guitar, and on top of it all, like you got a random rap in there, and it felt like Sonic the Hedgehog music for a little bit right there for me. Like whatever, like I don't know why, but whenever I hear like a fast paced like rock track and there's like a little rap verse randomly right there, I'm like, yeah, yeah, what's up, Sonic?
Plus, there's a Super
But the,
Saiyan and a Human Torch reference in there.
yeah, I know, right? Like, which was like hysterical. But I also really like more on an audio engineering perspective. But whoever engineered the vocals on these songs, like specifically "I Burn" and "Red Like Roses," they did a really nice job with like vocal layering. Like, I could hear it. There's like layers and layers and layers of like doubled or maybe even tripled vocals, and I absolutely love how fusional it comes into the music. Rock is a genre that's, you know, for a very long time been recorded. Okay, let's do everyone in the room. Let's jam it out. Let's play the song like 45 times and let's take like the favorite version of it.
Well, now
our favorite version of the.
Now I just feel called out.
No, don't. And here, the way it's engineered, it just feels like there's this like separation between the vocals, the guitar, the drums, the bass. There's like this like sectional, like, okay, here's your frequency spectrum, here's your frequency spectrum, here's your frequency spectrum, and it's somehow all glued together so nicely. I really enjoy how the music was engineered here, like on a music genre level, on a music performance level, and a music engineering level. Like, it's really professionally made. And then you look at the list, like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy how many songs they put out. Do you have like a favorite volume or a favorite outside of Red Like Rose's song that like you really like resonate with?
My probably my favorite 2 volumes of the songs are probably the first 2 volumes, just because that's what sucked me into it the hardest the most. If I had to pick a favorite song outside of Red Like Roses, and Wasn't I Burned, just because I don't want to copy you, it would probably be Time to Say Goodbye. Time to Say Goodbye is the second opening.
Is that the one that's more piano based at the very beginning?
No, that is Mirror Mirror. That's Weiss's theme song.
Oh,
so there's a point where it ends. There's a point where it breaks. That's the opening of it. And
right.
And the openings of a lot of anime songs tend to be my favorite songs of the anime, because I mean, they do their job. They're supposed to get you energized. They're supposed to get you hyped and excited for what you're about to watch. RWBY consistently knocks that out of the park for me. Like, I love This Will Be the Day We've Waited For, but when Time to Say Goodbye comes on, I get that same feeling, but it's elevated. And unfortunately, those are the only 2 like intros I know by heart or by name. But they still hit, even if I don't know them by name, they still hit that kind of vibe to still get me excited for the show. Even though the show is on its like, I want to say 9th volume now, and it's continuing.
It's in its 9th volume, yes.
Yeah, and it's insane that it can consistently do that, especially for 9 seasons. Like, I shouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of shows that do the same thing. Like One Piece, for instance, has the same kind of vibe. It doesn't have rock, obviously, just taking that out. But it has that same kind of vibe to get you excited, where it's energetic, it's full of fantasy, wonder, adventure, and it makes you feel all these different feelings when you're going into the show. And RWBY does the same thing. They just seem to keep it consistent with rock and roll, at least as far as I can remember. And for a lot of people who is the core audience for RWBY, grew up with rock and roll. So it speaks to them on that kind of level too, just like I said it did for me.
I completely agree with you. Like, they really like know how to get you on that level. But like, for me, the other thing too that I really would like to ask you, pardon me, is how do you feel like the character themes, like I Burn, Red Like Roses, relate to the main 4? I'd be really curious to know if, like, maybe we don't have to do all 4 of them, but like, or you, however you want to approach this, like on a general level.
No,
but like, how musically they relate from one character to the other, because you really love these characters. I remember talking about this with you like years past, and like this is something that like is near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. Red Like Roses, obviously, I could probably go on for days, so I'm not going to start there just because I don't want this to only be a Red Like Roses.
You can, though.
I know I can, but there's one that I want to bring up that I haven't brought up a whole lot first. I'm going to Red Like Roses, don't worry.
We're going there, don't worry. Just don't
worry,
rush me,
we're
man.
Just not going there yet.
Got you.
No,
let the audience tease them a little bit. I like it. I like it.
The first one I wanted to bring up was Mirror Mirror, and that's Weiss's theme song. Weiss's is more, you're actually right. It is more piano based. It is more like classical music based, because that's who she is as a character. She's supposed to be seen as elegant, regal, classy, and just kind of like a winter princess. But the song conveys that she's trapped because she's looking in a mirror, and her song is called Mirror Mirror, and she's feeling trapped. She's feeling a lot like the evil stepmother does in Snow White. Mirror Mirror, who is the ugliest that I see, or who is the loneliest girl that I see, and
Hmm.
it's her. Like all the characters are based on different fairy tales, and the song conveys that perfectly, especially with Weiss
Yes, absolutely. I
and
completely agree with you.
and Ruby, Red Like Roses.
Yeah, here we go. I don't like 30 seconds later. Like we're gonna get there. Like you made it sound like it's gonna be further. Like no,
Like
right now.
it's gonna. Well, if you're excited for something, you want to talk more about it, obviously. And Red Like Roses is definitely the one I can get the most excited about.
Of course.
Red Like Roses has that like small hint of innocent wonder, where it's making you think of roses. It's making you think of the color red, and red is it leans heavily onto the color, where like red is the color of passion, red is the color of well, honestly, passion and righteous
Yeah.
fury, and it's honestly more of a heroic color the more I think about it. Like a lot of big time heroes wear a lot of red, like Superman, Captain America, Spider Man, and it
So
honestly
Ginger's got a point.
makes me feel heroic. And
Hmm.
with Red Like Roses leaning so hard into it, unfortunately, it's been a long time since I've actually listened to the song in its entirety. But it
Right.
always makes me feel hyped and happy and energetic. But a lot of that also might be because it is specifically Ruby's song, and Ruby is definitely my favorite character in, well, Ruby.
Yeah.
Now, but
Absolutely.
the badass one is definitely I Burn. Like I Burn is Yang's song, and Yang is there to just mess shit up. She is there to put you in the ground unapologetically.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And also, I really feel like these songs when they all come together, and I promise that I'll make sense of this. Like especially like in season one when they're like doing that exam and then like they're fighting. What was it? Was it like that big scorpion they were fighting?
It was a scorpion grim, yeah.
Yeah, the Scorpion Grim that they were fighting. Um, like Red Like Roses comes on, and I just feel like they have different like versions of each song that just kind of like sequence through, and it's so well put together to just hold the significance of the scene. You know how intense the scene is. And
Even though you asked me this several minutes ago,
yeah,
you asked me like if I had any favorite standout music moments that that stand out, and it is when Red Like Roses starts playing at the end of the exam, because it's showing Ruby and Jean as leaders of their team,
mm-hmm.
and just getting hit with that song and everything flowing so perfectly with the leaders and their team, especially when Ruby is running up the wall trying to decapitate the crow. It just, that moment forever stays with me, because the song, the characters, the move, it's just a lot of it is just pure badassery, and it sticks with your memory the more you think about it, especially when it's your favorite song.
Right. Um, like when what I also really find fun is that each volume that was composed by Jeff like it features like a whole new shebang of music. Like each volume feels like it's really its own independent existence. You know what I mean?
It does
Um,
something that like I wish a lot of CDs would do, where
which
like
is
if you buy a CD from a favorite band, and then you buy a second CD, like even if you know the songs by heart, a lot of times the songs sound very similar. So like yeah, they're done by the same band, and I understand that, but it sounds like you just bought the same thing twice. But with Ruby, a lot of songs, especially because they're so focused on purely being for the characters instead of the overarching story, which they do have overarching story songs, but literally every character has their own theme. That's honestly what speaks volumes to me about it being different music, because all the characters are treated so differently, so are the songs. And
well said.
that is something insane to think about, when you consider that their whole core of their music is rock and roll. So like 80 if not 90% of the music they use even for all the characters is rock, but it's approached in a different way.
No, exactly, exactly. I really like because we were talking about Red Red Roses, and I had other like ideas that came to mind. Like it's definitely like rock, but it's like so orchestral in the way that like when you hit that song, you hit play on that song like right at the beginning, we're like on this like kind of slower acoustic guitar playing on a like it's definitely like a minor key. Like these notes sound too sad for it to be like on a major in a major scale. And then like how it just picks up, like that's the other thing that's really cool. It just picks up, and like I feel like a thing in music that's really funny is like when you change the tempo, so you go from like a tap that's slow to much faster, and that just inherently creates excitement. This feels like it's more than double the original tempo that we were going to, and it has its moments of rest, but it's fast paced, and it's got like that string arrangement that just like sustains the tense intensity of it, like just the way it's dynamically and emotionally structured. The music itself, like even if you just took the instrumental version of it, you feel like it's telling you a story. It's telling you about a battle that's going on, and it's not for the faint of heart.
Which that's
It's
what music
definitely
should be able to convey, lyric or otherwise.
no, absolutely, absolutely. But just like that's just one example, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Red Leg Roses is it's the RWBY song, like it's the most it has to be the most if not one of the most popular songs.
I mean,
in
it
RWBY.
is because it belongs to the most popular character.
To the main
But
main character
if it's
syndrome.
not, if it's not Red Like Roses, it's probably This Will Be the Day, which was the
This Will Be
very
the
first
Day.
opening.
It is the very first opening. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but like that's another one that's like how you said like it's not like hardcore metal, like that's not really a thing in RWBY. Like how did you say that earlier? Remember? Do you know what I'm referring to?
Like that hardcore metal or like fantasy or tavern music doesn't fit the kind of vibe of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
hardcore metal isn't necessarily like the main thing, but like to me, it's just so guitar driven that this will be the day like felt like it had metal influences, and once again, fast rhythm, distorted guitar work that with power chords and riffs that just like repeat and reoccur throughout the song, and you got like that heavy percussion and like a driving bass line that builds like the intensity of the music, like one note after another. And that's what I really like about this one. It's like it pushes and it pushes and it pushes in this really nice way. And how can I say this? The way they section this music, they just know where to place a chorus and how to write a chorus. Like that's definitely something that comes very naturally to Jeff Williams. I can tell, and to his daughter Casey Lee Williams as well. Like the music's in the family for sure. Like you cannot deny that.
No, not absolutely not. I will say that the more the show progresses, they do experiment more with more genres of music. So like the area in the show that I know the best is probably the first 3 volumes, where practically every song is steep deep in rock and roll. But later on, you meet a character named Ollie. He's a farm boy, and they start incorporating like more acoustic instruments and more like Western style music. They don't incorporate a lot, but it is in there. So they at least acknowledge these other genres of music to keep things alive and fresh. But there's still that element of rock. Like if I had to say the genres of music that actually stick the most out in RWBY in like consistently, it would be soft rock, and heavy rock and classic. Like those are the things that I hear the most, especially with the 4 core characters and in the early show, because there's a lot of piano. And piano with me just I know it can be used in different genres of music, but to me it just screams classical. Like you have
I mean,
piano,
it
you have
is a very
violin, you have
yeah.
string.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a classical instrument, so that's what I hear.
Which is totally fair. I just felt like when what repeat one more time the three genres.
Hard rock, soft rock, rock, and classical.
Yeah, okay, so rock. It's yeah,
Yeah,
that's okay.
it's rock, but like I said, it's approached in a different way, and we have three different forms of rock, at least to the ones that I know of. We have soft, heavy,
Right.
and normal rock, and they incorporate all three types.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the music in RWBY, we're approaching volume 9 now, or like volume 9. Is it complete or is it the next that's coming out? Like, where are we at with that?
I like I said at the beginning of this. It's been a while since I watched into RWBY, and I have actually dropped it a little bit ago. I believe I'm somewhere in 7. So
It's
I think 9 is finished, and I think we're waiting on 10.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. Volume 9 premiered February 18th, 2023, and concluded April 22nd, 2023. So here's the thing. As I was researching this, I saw that Jeff Williams basically stepped down since season 8, and now Casey Lee kind of took his place for season 9 and beyond. And what I think is interesting about that is I've never heard of another, for lack of a better term, trade-off in music between seasons than a family member with another family member. On top of that, family members that have collaborated together on the music of a show for several seasons, because Casey Lee has definitely had her run at this, and she's done an amazing job. What are your thoughts on that concept, trading off music directors and composers, but they still have their family members and they've collaborated together? I feel like if you were to trade off, obviously Jeff is incredible at what he does, but if you were to have a replacement, there's no better person than Casey, right?
Right, especially because she has been his partner in this since the beginning. She sings Red Like Roses, if I remember right, and this will be the day. She has been the core singer of RWBY since its conception, and for it to be, I'm not gonna lie, for it to be a family member passing it, a father passing it to a daughter, doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. It means more to me that it's going to the person who has already been working on it. So even if it was from a third party and he passed it to whoever was with them at the time, I would be more than okay with that. It fits better because you understand the music and you understand the type that you're going for if you have been in the project since the start, or at least very, very early on. You can't be hired volume 7 and then him to retire after volume 8 and then take the reins. I feel like one season is not enough time. It's especially if you want to incorporate the feelings of the world up until that point. You have to understand the characters, you have to understand the world, you have to understand the story. And I feel like Casey does that beautifully. I feel like she has done that from the start. And music is meant to express oneself and one's world and enrich an experience. And you can't do that with just a random new hand thrown in with no information. So for it to go from, like I said, from it to go to father to daughter or family member to family member, not important. It has to go to someone who understands where this all came from and what has gone into it from the start.
Right. No, I completely agree with what you're saying there. The other thing too is I feel like the more I listen to this and the more I listen to the genres, it's I've had chances here and there to compose for film. Obviously, I'm not on the scale of what they've done, but there's certain types of directors that you like working with, and then there's certain type of directors that are more difficult to work with.
That's every job ever.
Right. I'm building to a point here, though. Right. And the point is, what I'm hearing here is, I really feel like they were given a complete free range over whatever they wanted to explore and have fun with when it comes to the songs. here in RWBY. The composition does not feel restrictive. It feels open, it feels natural, and it feels like it fits the characters really naturally and really easily. And they had Casey and Jeff had the complete freedom to explore any type of musical genre, and any type of experimentation that they wanted in music, and really have all the fun on their own. It really feels like the music is wide open, and they went to explore every little nook and cranny that they wanted to, and it just came together naturally. And it's so natural that you know how you said like music like Red Like Roses is the leitmotif for RWBY, right? Like it's the RWBY theme.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it seems to be like as I was researching it. But I think, and disagree with me if you want here, but I feel like the music, because of how naturally it was explored and created, in my opinion, it leaves this openness where you could take Red Like Roses and put it over another fight sequence or choreography, and it would still fit because Red Like Roses is just that action packed.
I would say depending on the situation, but I don't have to because you're right.
More often than not, it would.
More often than not, it would, especially if, let's say, you take the lyrics out and just leave "Red Like Roses" in the orchestral. I'd still feel like it would really work because, again, like you said, it is that action packed, and it really does get that point across. And if you can get that point across, like through different, for lack of a better word, universes, as opposed to just like keeping it restrained in yours, and it still performs as well, I feel like that's what makes it a good fight song. Like that, yeah, sorry, getting tongue-tied here. For it to work in any kind of situation in fights is what makes an action-packed theme song.
No, I mean, I cannot disagree with you when you say that. It's the type of thing where the songs are so wide open that you don't have to take them literally.
Yeah.
Like you don't. You really don't.
I know very little to nothing about the background of RWBY or behind the scenes, but from what I've seen secondhandly, take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. I am not an expert on this, but I have heard things that make me form this opinion. So just bear with me here.
I'm going to cut out all of that part and just put your opinion in.
Okay. Monty,
I'm getting good.
that would just be mean. Like, hey, just so you know, I'm not an expert here. Yeah, no one wants to hear that part. Well,
we are only experts on this podcast.
Clearly, I say in my Pikachu pajamas.
Dude, I miss you.
Sorry. All good. So from behind the scenes, Monty Ohm, the creator of RWBY, I feel like wanted his co-creators and his partners to express creativity in their field. Like when it came to design of RWBY, when it came to the world of RWBY, the music of RWBY, I feel like he wanted creativity to flourish and be explored. Like, don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to go for your ideas. Like, if they're bad, they're bad, but at least we can try them. Like, and that's honestly the kind of vibe I got from Monty, to want to express like everyone's creativity as much as they could. I don't feel like it was more of a ringleader kind of experience where it was like, do what I say when I say it, as much as I want us to try and have fun with this. Like, it is my vision, but I want us to have fun and explore what we can.
Right. No, that's completely fair to say. And like, I feel like that's the best type of environment to have the like greatest emotional impact when it comes to like music and pivotal scenes and everything, because like you need to have multiple opinions cooking at the same time, in order for the songs to resonate as well as they have resonated. And listen, they're on volume 9. Like, whatever formula they got going on, it's working for them.
Not only that, but it has survived the fall of Rooster Teeth. Like when Rooster Teeth closed down, there was fear and panic that especially Ruby would be lost to time and not be revived because it didn't have a place to call home. Same with Death
Right.
Battle. But Ruby and Death Battles, I don't know what else has survived, but Ruby and Death Battle have found other homes. They have continued, especially because from a astounding support of the community for Ruby, this show, not just the music, this show is loved by a lot of people who grew up with Rooster Teeth and even new fans that I'm pretty sure are out there. I say this because I'm one who grew up with Rooster Teeth. And I grew up with Red versus Blue. I grew up with Rooster Teeth as a whole. Ruby is what really made me love them. And to hear that it has survived and it is continuing with the same people, just in a new house, I was over the moon ecstatic to hear that.
Right. And for the more or less initiated like myself, like what actually happened um with all of that? Because I was as I was researching, I saw a Reddit post that came out in, I think it was like in mid 2023. Like Casey Lee tweeted that like the that like Viz had picked up Ruby or something, or
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, and that the
Sorry.
music is back on like online platforms now, and like you'll be able to listen to songs again. Like, did it have multiple downfalls? Like, what happened exactly with all of that?
Well, because the company fell under, I don't even know the full story of what actually happened with Rooster Teeth, but they basically lost all their IPs and their company as a whole. So,
Mm-hmm.
like since everything was uploaded through Rooster Teeth or Rooster Teeth Connections, no one had the rights to upload Ruby to media platforms or Spotify or anywhere you listen to music. Basically, if anything had the Ruby name, it had to be taken down for a period of time until someone had formed the IPs. Because obviously, you couldn't put it under free use. Like even though it has existed, there's not a way for it to generate revenue for no one. And Spotify, if you have
Mm.
multiple downloads or if you have multiple listens, there's nowhere for that kind of attention to go to.
Right, I see what you mean. Wow, okay. But like that's crazy that like they would even take down the music from like streaming platforms because of that. Like imagine
That
being
that
like
is
a
keep in mind. This is my understanding. I am not an
yeah,
expert
yeah,
in
yeah,
this
but like
field, but yeah,
it's for a fact. It's for a fact that the music was taken off platforms. Like I looked into it.
I
It
think
was.
I think it's because it was related to the IP of Ruby,
Yeah, I mean it's music.
and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
of course.
and
Because
basically,
like
if
they have like the
anything,
artwork. Yeah.
yeah, if anything related to the name or that, no, yeah, if anything had the name of Ruby or any Rooster Teeth property, I believe it was taken down for a period of time. Like I think even Death Battle went down for a while.
So explain to me where the name of Ruby would be in Ruby Volume 1 or Ruby Volume 2 or Ruby Volume 3 or Ruby Volume 4 or Ruby Volume 5 or Ruby Volume 6 or Ruby Volume 7 or Ruby Volume 8 or Ruby Volume 9. How does that make any sense?
Yeah, I toned out at volume two. What? Explain your question. What are you actually asking here?
I'm trolling you. I'm trolling you.
Okay.
You're saying anything with the name Ruby was deleted, right? And I
Yeah.
was like, well, where's the name Ruby in Ruby Volume 1, Ruby Volume 2, Ruby Volume 3?
Well, you see, you're saying Ruby every time, so
We're renaming the soundtrack to Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4.
just name it red, white, black, yellow. Like just write down the whole words, and then
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, I mean, listen, these songs are beyond fantastic. Like I love this. Like I even did like a few hour listen with like other volumes, and if you have not listened to, like, I mean, you have like days, not maybe not days, but you have lots of hours of music to go through here and to enjoy. Like there's so many great songs that Jeff Williams and KC and another person too that was not mentioned, but they in the replacement of Jeff, there's another composer called Martin Gonzalez who replaced Jeff and like works in collaboration for the Volume 9 music with Casey Lee, and is apparently a member of OK Goodnight, which is like a metal band. So, you know, like they're definitely staying in that like rock metal phase. Like they're bringing someone who has like that same thread in their fabric. But he joined Casey as a music director and composer for Volume 9. But apparently on April 11, 2023, Martin left OK Goodnight due to stress of being in the band. So, I guess, yeah, I mean, the music world is a stressful thing, and like doing multiple projects at once, I completely understand that. Like,
Yeah.
you got to choose something at some point.
And of course, like the further along you go, like we have 9 volumes worth of music now. Obviously, as you go, music has to evolve, and there does have to be changes made. Like if you just stay purely with rock and roll the entire way through, you will have some listeners, but you will lose even more. So to have, I know I said it's important to have the same kind of partner that was there from the start, which it is as the lead. But if you bring in support and have a second pair of eyes on it and have other ideas bounce off, then it can work even better and it helps it evolve. Like it's important to keep the core of what got you so far, but it has to evolve with the times.
It does. I agree. I completely agree with you. And it will evolve with the times. And I think that like Volume 10, do we have any news on Volume 10? Do we know what's going on with Hotshot News Report here? What news we have about RWBY Volume 10, Hotshot? What can you tell us at this hour?
This just in, I have no idea.
Well, Google states as of April 24th, 2024, talks are progressing well to find partners to greenlight RWBY Volume 10. Ooh. That's cool. So there is a Volume 10 in the works.
There is one in the works. This will be the first. I believe this will be the first volume that has been purely made out of house from Rooster Teeth.
Oh, really?
I believe. I'm not sure 9 might have been that, but I think 10 is the first volume to actually be made purely with Viz Media.
I believe you're right because Viz picked up RWBY not that long ago. It was. I think that's correct.
Okay.
So, well, actually, we have the internet here.
I don't know. The internet lies to me.
RWBY Volume 9.
The internet told me you wanted to be my friend. You just wanted me to be a co-host.
Rooster Teeth. Let's see here. No, RWBY Volume 9 was not available. No, it was already. Yeah, it was. It was. The 9th volume premiered February 18, 2023. It was later released on Rooster Teeth in March 30th, 2024. So listen, they had some type of involvement for Volume 9. So I think what you're saying
that this will be the first one purely without Rooster Teeth on its name.
Well, since the big drop, at least.
Since the big drop, yeah.
I guess that this will be the day, Hotshot.
I've waited for it.
Yeah, because I burn.
Red like roses.
All right.
I have no other transition.
Nothing. I think we can slowly make our way to the end here, unless there was any closing thoughts you had.
The only closing thought I really had is RWBY actually might have been the first web series that got me into listening to more web music than your traditional bands. And honestly, I still listen to it every now and then. Granted, I listened to a handful of songs, not anywhere near as much as I did when I watched the show the first time, but it still keeps me involved. It still keeps me interested, and I keep going back to the songs that I love because it's connected to all these characters that I love, and it just makes me love those songs even more.
Yeah, me too. For sure. Like the music of RWBY is one that when I was sitting down with Hotshot, saying, "Oh, like what topic? If you want to come back on, what you want to do?" And he mentioned RWBY, and right away it made sense. And this music makes a lot of sense, and I'm so glad it exists and it's out there. And if you find out about RWBY through this podcast for the very first time, like first of all, like what type of rock were you living under? Because this music is fantastic. This anime is incredible. I just encourage all of the listeners to go out there and hit play. Just hit play, give it a chance, and I promise it's going to be worth it. Very excited to see what comes of it next, 100%. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode. Reminder that you can use code JaianMusic to get 25% off over on Laser Audio Technologies. First link in the description. please go check out Hotshot. He streams on Twitch, does gaming streams, and they will be coming out in 2025. So just go give him a follow over there. And go give GoPro Kyo a follow, who does all of the artwork for JaianMusic Notes. And for the podcast itself, we're on every big podcast platform. So make sure to give us a 5-star review, subscribe to us in your favorite podcatcher. And you can find myself on social media at JaianMusic. So for myself and Hotshot, this has been another episode of JaianMusic Notes. Bye, everyone.
Bye.